it doesn't mean I am breaking down. But I couldn't figure out how to separate it, because generally speaking, I was being hired to be slivers of myself. Everything just feels personal, and you feel naked and completely vulnerable and humiliated.
For Tyler Perry to admit he did start a rumor that I was difficult to work with.
Gabrielle Union was never known for causing drama or burning bridges. But 13 years ago, she made a bold move. She dipped out from one of the biggest powerhouses in Black Hollywood and never looked back. Now, after staying quiet for over a decade, Gabrielle's finally spilling the truth. And it's way deeper than low paychecks. What she witnessed behind closed doors left her shaken and furious.
Step up and question more. And it was in the questioning amongst greatness that I was like, this feels great. I feel like I did something here.
It wasn't just about her. It was about how the women around her were being treated. She tried to speak out. She tried to stand up. But in Tyler Perry's empire and under Oprah Winfrey's massive influence, being real like that, it comes with a price. And Gabrielle paid it in full.
Never settle for anything less than what I want and what I deserve.
This wasn't some messy public fight or tabloid feud. Nope, it was way more strategic, quiet, icy, the kind of Hollywood fallout nobody wants to admit happens. Because out there, keeping your mouth shut isn't just about playing nice, it's a survival tactic. And Gabrielle, she chose not to play that game anymore. The last time she showed up in a Tyler Perry movie was way back in 2012. Since then, nothing. No cameos, no guest spots, not even a quick walk-on in his billion-dollar Atlanta studio. For someone who used to be right in the mix, her absence is loud. And now, after 13 long years, Gabrielle is finally breaking the silence. She's laying it all out.
You stand up for nothing, you'll fall for everything.
And where it all started might not shock you. Like most Hollywood stories, it began with money, or more like how little of it was being handed out. Gabrielle Union isn't staying quiet anymore, and she's making that crystal clear. She's now one of the loudest voices in Black Hollywood when it comes to unfair pay. And at the 2025 American Black Film Festival during Allie's Sisterhood and Savings panel, she let loose. She didn't sugarcoat it. Gabrielle shared how her team used to say, "No, that's a great number for you." And then it hit her. For me? Compared to who? Compared to what? That little phrase stopped sounding friendly and started sounding shady real fast. Behind the scenes, something powerful was brewing. Gabrielle linked up with her trusted crew, Regina Hall, Nia Long, and Regina King. And they weren't just catching up, they were comparing contracts. Who was getting paid what? Who was being lowballed? Who was getting pushed out while someone else got bumped up? This wasn't about landing just any gig anymore. It was about protecting their worth, their legacy, and demanding real economic justice. Gabrielle even recalled a moment that made her blood boil. While working on a major project, she found out the second lead was making more than her.
You know, I put in the same hours as most men, and if not more, and I deserve to get paid the same. Equal pay, equal work, and that's how it should be.
That moment wasn't rare either. In Black Hollywood, it was way too normal. Powerful women constantly getting sidelined, even when they were the stars of the show. But Gabrielle and her circle didn't just vent about it, they took action. They got organized, they laid down the rules, they even turned down roles. Everyone had their strategy and they stuck to it. And guess what? It worked. Studios had no choice but to crawl back to the table. And yes, number one finally got the paycheck she deserved. But that victory came at a price, especially in Tyler Perry's world, where silence is golden and control is everything. Still, Gabrielle didn't back down. She started speaking out even more, breaking open the secrets behind contracts and calling out shady deal structures out loud. Gabrielle Union became the one everyone called when things got shady. Young actresses started reaching out when those sketchy contracts landed on their desks, and she schooled them how to push back, how to say no, how to walk away with their dignity intact. But every time she helped another woman get stronger, Gabrielle found herself drifting farther away from Hollywood's power players, especially the ones who had their names on the buildings. This wasn't some messy beef or Hollywood catfight. It ran way deeper than that. Gabrielle wasn't just stepping away from Tyler Perry. She was walking out on a whole system that only showed her love when she stayed quiet and played nice. And the second she stopped playing by their rules, boom, She stepped straight into something way darker, that hidden blacklist no one wants to admit exists. In Hollywood, asking the wrong questions can cost you everything. She wasn't alone either. Across the industry, black actresses were getting quietly punished for knowing their worth, and Gabrielle's voice, it was getting louder and scarier to the ones in control. She said it best herself, the fake support disappears fast when you stop accepting crumbs. The minute you set boundaries or say, I'm not working for less than I deserve, suddenly you're not inspiring anymore. Now you're difficult. And in Tyler Perry's inner circle, that label don't come off easy. Gabrielle wasn't imagining it. The whispers got real. Roles vanished without warning. Writers dropped overnight for asking about union rights. She'd seen it happen. House of Pain writers, gone. Meet the Browns crew, replaced. And it was always the same pattern. In her world, the message was loud and clear. Speak up, yeah, and you might be next. And standing in the middle of it all, Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, billionaires with public platforms all about empowerment. But behind the scenes, Gabrielle started to see the cracks. That support they preached, it seemed to vanish the moment you stopped staying silent. Everything shifted the moment Gabrielle Union started speaking up. When she stayed quiet, the support was there. But the second she asked real questions, it disappeared, fast. She never had to call Tyler Perry or Oprah monsters. She didn't need to. The pattern said it all loud and clear. They knew the rules of the game, and they weren't trying to break them. While Hollywood showered Perry with praise for building a studio and hiring black talent, Gabrielle was looking deeper. Her question was simple but sharp. At what cost? And more importantly, who gets left behind? Gabrielle wasn't just talking about herself when she opened up about pay gaps and being pushed to the sidelines. She was throwing up warning signs for everyone. And by 2024, it was clear she wasn't the only one watching the system fall apart from the inside. That's when actor Christian Keys dropped a bombshell out of nowhere.
He showed up to my apartment and offered me $100,000 to take my clothes off. He said, I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you.
He wasn't a newbie. Keys was respected, an actor, writer, and the co-creator of All the Queen's Men, a hit BET Plus show produced by none other than Tyler Perry Studios. And even though he never dropped names directly, his story had people putting the puzzle together real quick. He described being targeted by a billionaire filmmaker. He talked about secret cash offers, recorded convos, and hush money deals hitting 6 figures. Keys claimed he had receipts, actual tapes. He even said he'd been followed, and he hinted loudly that the abuse wasn't just personal, it was built into the system, calculated, cold.
Sell my soul or my... Excuse my French, y'all. I know some of y'all, hopefully y'all don't have no kids around, but I didn't sell nothing for success.
And every sign pointed to one man, Tyler Perry. Keys never said it outright, but maybe he didn't have to. The internet caught on instantly. Then came another twist. Just days after Keys' video exploded online, a TikTok clip from actor Brandon JJ popped up, and it only added more heat.
Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means.
Jay's story was different, but the vibe, way too familiar. He said he auditioned to play a regular high school kid, just a simple role, a bullied teen. But on shoot day, everything flipped. Perry allegedly changed the entire storyline on the spot, without telling him. Suddenly, Jay's character was rewritten as a gay teen with a crush on his bully. No heads up, no prep, no chance to process. And when Jay tried to speak up, he was told point blank, adapt or leave.
The director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it, because if not, they will fire you.
No warning, no consent, just pressure to fall in line or get out. That wasn't direction, that was straight up coercion. This wasn't just about inappropriate changes, it was about power. The kind of control that can flip the script in a second. The kind of pressure that turns a job into a threat. And Gabrielle Union had been warning us about this for years. Now, the proof was pouring out in the open. People started wondering, if Perry could do that in front of cameras, what was really going on behind the scenes? Gabrielle didn't need to speak on the Christian Keys situation. She stayed quiet. But the message, it was already out there. The industry was finally starting to catch up to what she'd been signaling all along. Hollywood doesn't protect the ones who need it. It protects the ones who run it. And Gabrielle, she was done playing nice in that game. She had spent years watching her peers get torn down, underpaid, recast, rewritten, or just straight up tossed aside. But when she saw how far the machine would go to silence women who didn't fall in line, that's when everything shifted for her. It wasn't just about stepping back from Tyler Perry. It was about walking away for good. And her breaking point wasn't some explosive argument or viral moment. It was the slow, steady grind, the subtle shade, the blatant unfairness, the freezing cold reactions when she dared to speak her truth. That's what pushed her out for good. And she wasn't the only one feeling that chill. Tiffany Haddish knew the silence too. At one point, she and Tyler Perry were tight, like public tight. She hosted his dinners, popped up at his parties, moved in all the same Hollywood circles. But when Haddish got hit with a messy lawsuit, a case that was later tossed out and proven baseless, guess what happened? Everyone vanished.
Everything. All my gigs gone.
Really?
Everything gone.
His face, you know?
I don't know, bro.
Especially Perry. Not a single person from Tyler Perry's studio stepped up to defend her. No public words of support. Nothing. Even after she was cleared, Gabrielle took note. She saw exactly how those so-called powerful friends move when things get messy. The silence, loud, the loyalty, fake. And Perry wasn't just icing out women. Behind the scenes, he was doing the same to the very writers who helped build his empire. Remember when 4 writers from House of Pain got fired just for asking for union contracts? Yeah, that was Tyler Perry. And when the Writers Guild of America called him out for unfair labor practices, did he apologize? Nope. Did he try to work things out? Not even close. Instead, Perry doubled down and made a big, bold announcement. He would write every single episode of every show, all by himself. Some folks clapped like it was genius, but to people like Gabrielle Union, it didn't scream brilliance, it screamed control. It looked like fear of giving up credit, fear of being challenged, and most of all, fear of having to pay people what they actually deserve. Gabrielle had been paying attention. She'd watched studios hand out checks, and the pay scale wasn't just random. Black women were getting the short end, again and again. White women, black men, they were getting more, and they were getting it faster. She saw what happened to Monique, too, punished for simply asking to be paid for her time promoting a film. Labeled difficult for wanting fair treatment, Gabrielle wasn't shocked. She'd seen the pattern too many times. She was just over it. Because every time she opened her mouth, someone would lean in and say, "That's a great number for you." And she finally understood what that meant. It meant, be grateful you're even allowed in the room. But Gabrielle, she wasn't begging anymore. She was building her own damn table. Tyler Perry might have been the first to let Gabrielle down, but he definitely wasn't the only one. Right next to him stood someone she once looked up to, a woman who built her legacy on kindness, on lifting others up, on giving the voiceless a platform, Oprah Winfrey. Gabrielle had admired her. She believed in that message of sisterhood and support. So when things got messy, she looked around, hoping Oprah would speak out, offer backup, say something. But Oprah, nowhere to be found. Her silence didn't feel like neutrality. It felt intentional. Gabrielle started to see it for what it really was. Oprah's silence wasn't just quiet, it was calculated. Gabrielle Union wasn't the only one peeping the silence or feeling the sting. Monique had already been sounding the alarm years before anyone else caught on. Once celebrated by Oprah herself, Monique's fall from grace started in 2009, right after Precious blew up. She gave a powerhouse performance, took home an Oscar, and then got hit with the difficult label. Why? Because she refused to do unpaid international press she was never contracted to do. She stuck to her agreement, kept it professional, and made it crystal clear she wasn't going to work for free. And just like that, everything flipped. Behind the scenes, Monique says Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels teamed up to shut her out of the game. She claims Perry straight up lied to executives, calling her problematic and refusing to correct it, even after admitting in private that it was a lie. Monique didn't just lose gigs, she lost over a decade of her career. According to her, she was pulling in $2 to $3 million a year before the fallout. That adds up to tens of millions gone, all based on a lie Perry admitted behind closed doors but never owned up to publicly.
Do you know, Shannon, that's cost my family tens of millions of dollars?
But for Monique, the worst betrayal wasn't the money, it was personal. She says Oprah invited her estranged parents onto her show after Monique had confided in her privately about the trauma and pain tied to that relationship. That move, it cut deep. She called it the ultimate betrayal. And when Oprah finally spoke on it, she didn't take real accountability. On a group panel, she gave what Monique described as a weak, vague apology, saying, "If I've done anything wrong, I apologize." To Monique, that wasn't an apology. It was a dodge, a way to look remorseful without owning a thing. And just when it couldn't get messier, Monique says Tyler Perry pulled her aside during the Precious promo tour, called her into a private room with staff all around. She wasn't playing, so she brought her security with her. And according to her, as soon as Perry shut the door, his own team scattered like they already knew how things usually go down. That moment, it wasn't just shady, it was terrifying. And it confirmed exactly what Monique and later Gabrielle had been saying all along. In certain Hollywood circles, power protects power, no matter the cost. Monique says Tyler Perry tried to pressure her into doing international press for free. He dangled a promise of a $3 to $8 million future payday if she'd just fall in line. But when she stood her ground and said no, Perry backed off, only to later join the Whisper campaign that dragged her name through the mud anyway. And the shade didn't stop there. Monique revealed that even Reggie Wells, Oprah's former makeup artist, overheard Oprah say she'd never pay Monique a dime, even though she knew Monique deserved it. That cut deep. It wasn't just a paycheck being denied, it was respect being stripped away, plain and simple. But Monique's not out here asking for sympathy. She wants something bigger, accountability. She's been clear. She wants Oprah and Perry to say out loud what they already said behind closed doors, that they were wrong, that they lied, and that their choices cost her millions. And if they really want to make it right, then they need to say it on the same big stage they used to ruin her name. But so far, nothing. Perry's still silent. Oprah, silent too. And Monique, she's still speaking loud and clear. Because if they could do this to her, a woman with an Oscar in her hand and talent no one can deny, who else were they doing it to? Gabrielle Union had been trying to warn folks about this for years, not with drama or wild accusations, but with quiet, firm truth. She kept pointing to the cracks in the system, calling out the cold control and fake loyalty behind the scenes. Hollywood's power structure didn't just gatekeep careers, it kept people silent, it demanded trust, and it used control like a weapon. Then everything came crashing down. In June 2025, the industry got rocked when actor Dixon filed a jaw-dropping $260 million lawsuit against Tyler Perry and Tyler Perry Studios. The allegations, horrific. According to the court docs, it all started in 2019, when Perry allegedly first noticed Dixon at an event. From there, things spiraled into claims of harassment, coercion, and a toxic workplace that pushed boundaries too far. For most, it was shocking, but for the ones who'd been paying attention, it wasn't all that surprising.
Actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over harassment allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, exploitative dynamic with actor Dixon.
The red flags had been waving for years. Dixon says it all began with what looked like a regular Hollywood invite, mentorship. Tyler Perry allegedly brought him to his Atlanta mansion under the promise of career guidance. But once inside, things took a dark turn. Dixon claims he drank too much and blacked out, only to wake up and find Perry touching him inappropriately. He didn't go to the police, he didn't speak out. Why? Because he was new, scared, and just trying to survive in an industry where speaking up can get you blacklisted overnight. But the story didn't end there.
He was asleep. Perry climbed into bed with him and tried to initiate. Dixon says he tried to distance himself from Perry, but he was offered a role on Perry's show, The Oval.
According to court documents, there's receipts. Screenshots show alleged text messages from Perry, and they're explicit. One message read, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless intimacy? Have y'all found that yet in therapy?" Another pushed the line even further. "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me." Then came the real pressure. Another alleged message from Perry warned Dixon to keep quiet. "If you let the cast know that you and I have a new friendship, then you are opening yourself up to a lot of questions and foolishness. You earned your spot like everyone else. Don't give people an opportunity to play you small, or they will." That wasn't mentorship. That was manipulation, plain and dangerous, wrapped in promises laced with control. Dixon says he kept quiet. He tried to focus on the work, even as he took on roles in Perry shows like The Oval and Ruthless. But the messages didn't stop, and the behavior allegedly got worse. Then, in 2021, it crossed a terrifying line. Dixon claims Perry entered his guest house, pulled down his underwear, and whispered, "Relax, and just let it happen." That was it. That was the moment he knew he had to leave, no matter the risk. By June 2024, he filed a complaint with the EEOC. A year later, in 2025, he filed a $260 million lawsuit. And suddenly, all those things Gabrielle Union had been saying about power, control, and the quiet manipulation happening behind the scenes weren't just warnings anymore. They sounded like prophecies. Gabrielle tried to tell us. She spoke up about how the powerful rewrite narratives, hide behind status, and control others with silence. And now, with Dixon's case, that dark undercurrent she'd been hinting at, it's crashing into the spotlight. Derek Dixon's lawsuit isn't just about what happened behind closed doors. It's about the system that let it all happen in plain sight. The same system Gabrielle Union walked away from before it could happen to her. And now, nobody's laughing. Nobody's calling her difficult. They're just trying to catch up to what she saw years ago. Gabrielle didn't just deal with being sidelined. She watched her peers get mistreated, watched reputations get crushed, and watched how the powerful moved when no one was looking. She didn't go on some loud rant. She didn't drag names across headlines. She just stepped back, kept her peace, and let the truth speak on its own. And now, that truth is screaming. Derek Dixon's $260 million lawsuit didn't just shake the industry, it confirmed what a lot of folks had already been whispering. His accusations against Tyler Perry weren't just disturbing. They lined up with everything Gabrielle had been pointing to for years. Christian Keys tried to warn people in his own way, dropping that now infamous video filled with veiled hints. Brandon JJ came forward with his own TikTok story about last-minute character changes and pressure on set. And Tiffany Haddish, she had a public breakdown when she was left high and dry by the same Hollywood family that once embraced her. All these stories, they tell the same story Gabrielle Union was trying to explain. The power game in Hollywood is rigged. She tried to say, it's not just about talent, it's about silence. She called out the fake praise, the performative support, and how some Black creators were being lifted up in public while quietly mistreating the very people who helped build their empires. Gabrielle dared to talk about money, about how Black women were being paid less than everyone else. She talked about favoritism. She talked about how dangerous it was to set boundaries in an industry where your career depends on keeping quiet. And what did she get for that honesty? A label. Difficult. Suddenly the offers slowed down. The invites stopped. Relationships turned cold. People backed away. That's the cost. That's the price women like Gabrielle paid just for telling the truth, especially Black women in Hollywood. While Tyler Perry was getting flowers for his billion-dollar studio and Oprah stayed positioned as the queen of empowerment, Gabrielle Union was quietly being shut out. But here's the real truth. Gabrielle Union was never bitter. She was just done playing a game that was rigged from the jump. She didn't want power if it meant staying silent while others got hurt. She didn't want a spotlight if it meant lying to the young women watching her, thinking this was what success looked like. She saw the truth early, and instead of clinging to a seat at a broken table, she chose to build something better for herself and for every woman coming up behind her. Gabrielle didn't just walk away. She redefined what it means to win. She started having real conversations, the kind most people were too scared to even whisper. She helped younger actresses read between the lines of shady contracts. She shared what actually goes down in those glamorous rooms. She stood by Monique when the whole industry turned its back. She didn't need to expose people by name. She just laid out the facts and the truth exposed itself. And now, in 2025, nobody's questioning Gabrielle Union's credibility. Not after the lawsuits, not after the leaked texts, not after people finally started seeing behind the curtain and realizing that some of the most praised names in Hollywood weren't heroes after all. Gabrielle Union understood the rules of the game. She just decided she wasn't going to lose herself trying to win it. Because she chose to walk away, others are finally waking up and seeing the system for what it really is. Not just broken, but built to protect the wrong people. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts because these conversations matter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.